They call them fun boys. They'll say, we got to have some fun boys in the section for Busta.
What about Busta Rhymes? I've definitely seen quite a few people not too happy about your story about Busta Rhymes.
Ain't nobody saying nothing to me.
Never heard of him.
Model dude, like a model guy. He be doing like some rapping and stuff. His name Don Benjamin. I'm out with Don Benjamin. And the club we ended up going to, Busta Rhymes in there. Well, I knew about this like in 2012. I knew about this in 2012.
If Busta ever tried to phone me, hit you with no delay, so what you saying, yo? Silly with that 9 milli, what the devil, yo? Yeah, I do his shit better than him. He better not play with me. I will and perform Busta Rhymes' show. Look, man, if they try to say that if you ever thought that the Busta Rhymes was better than me, you crazy.
No one expected the night to unravel like this. It started as a quiet rumor, a whisper echoing through backstage corridors, but within hours it turned into the most chaotic, unbelievable celebrity moment of the year. And now 50 Cent has detonated the entire industry by leaking the footage himself. The internet isn't just buzzing, it's convulsing, because the clip he posted doesn't just show drama. It shows Busta Rhymes, one of the most respected, feared and admired giants in hip-hop, caught in a shocking, explosive moment with Orlando Brown that no one saw coming. And the way 50 dropped it, with his signature smirk and zero hesitation, has everyone asking one question. Why now, and what really happened before that moment the camera caught? It began with Orlando Brown resurfacing again, spiraling through interviews, podcasts, and random live streams where he threw out wild names, bizarre claims, and personal jabs. Most people brushed it off as another unpredictable episode, but behind the scenes, not everyone was laughing, especially Busta Rhymes. Busta had already been dealing with rumors about tension in the industry, quiet beefs, and accusations being whispered by people looking for clout. The last thing he needed was Orlando dragging his name into conversations he never asked for. But Orlando didn't just cross the line, he sprinted across it, shouting things even he couldn't walk back. Witnesses swear this all started days before the incident. Orlando reportedly showed up at a private event where Busta Rhymes was performing, trying to get backstage, trying to make peace. But his version of peace came with cameras, questions, and a lot of erratic behavior. Security turned him around twice. The third time, he sneaked through a side door no one was guarding. And that's when Busta finally saw him face to face. The energy was off from the moment they locked eyes. No greetings, no handshake, no mutual respect. Orlando was twitchy, sweating, talking fast, accusing people of things that didn't even make sense. People nearby kept their distance, pretending not to stare but unable to look away. The room shifted when Orlando started raising his voice. Busta stepped forward, towering over him, trying to calm him down. But Orlando wasn't listening. He poked Busta in the chest. He grabbed his arm. He said something no one has repeated publicly, and that's when the atmosphere turned electric. Security rushed in, trying to separate them, but Busta wasn't backing up anymore. The tension erupted. Bodies moved, and that's exactly the moment the footage begins. No build-up, no explanation, just pure chaos. And 50 Cent, of all people, had the full video and wasted no time blasting it out to millions. The moment the footage hit Instagram, the world stopped. Fans froze, celebrities panicked. Busta's team went silent. Orlando's name trended in seconds, and now everyone is trying to piece together how things spiraled into that violent, explosive scene. This isn't gossip anymore, this is a full-on storm, and no one knows who's telling the truth. The moment 50 Cent dropped the leaked footage, the hip-hop world froze in place. It wasn't staged, it wasn't edited, and it definitely wasn't something Busta Rhymes ever expected to see online. The clip was raw, shaky, and loud, the kind of backstage chaos you only see when someone records out of pure panic. And right in the center of it all was Busta Rhymes, snapping on Orlando Brown with a force that sent security, crew members, and bystanders scattering like dominoes. But to understand how everything escalated to that level, you have to rewind to how this mess truly started, because the public only saw a few seconds of impact. What happened before the camera rolled is where the real story lives. For weeks, Orlando Brown had been popping up everywhere. Random IG lives, podcasts, low-budget interviews, and street corner videos where he made claims that jumped from outrageous to downright disturbing. People were used to his unpredictability. They didn't take him seriously anymore. But this time, he didn't target a random celebrity. He targeted Busta Rhymes, someone who has maintained one of the toughest reputations in hip-hop for decades. Busta is the type of figure people don't disrespect publicly, because once he decides you crossed a line, it becomes a whole different situation. The trouble began when Orlando appeared on a small podcast barely anyone watched. Halfway through the episode, his tone shifted from awkward to provocative, and he suddenly dropped Busta's name. The host tried to move on, but Orlando kept digging deeper. He claimed he and Busta had unfinished business and implied Busta wasn't who people think he is. The way he said it didn't sound like a casual comment. It sounded like a warning or a threat, or at the very least an attempt to stir something up. The clip went viral in hours, not because people believed him, but because of how provocative it was. Busta's team saw the clip before he did. They didn't want to show him, not when he was already under pressure preparing for his upcoming performance, but the clip grew too big to ignore. The moment Busta saw it, he didn't get loud or angry. He got quiet. Too quiet. People around him said they knew right then something was going to happen. Busta felt disrespected, not just by Orlando's words, but by the way he said them, as if he was daring Busta to respond. Meanwhile, Orlando was spiraling in public. He kept posting videos outside studios, tagging random celebrities, calling out people who had no involvement whatsoever. But then he made one mistake too many. He hinted that he might pull up to one of Busta Rhymes' shows to settle things face to face. Most people laughed it off. No one believed Orlando had the nerve or opportunity to get anywhere near Busta. But Orlando wasn't bluffing. The night everything went down, Busta was headlining a private industry showcase. Only invited guests, producers, DJs, and a select group of artists were allowed backstage. Security was tight. Names were checked twice. Orlando Brown was not on the list, but he found a way inside anyway. Some say he bribed someone. Others swear he snuck in through a loading dock. One person insists he followed a group of dancers through an unguarded back door. Whatever happened, he ended up exactly where he shouldn't have been, mere feet from Busta Rhymes' dressing room. Witnesses say Orlando looked frantic. He wasn't calm or casual. He was muttering under his breath, walking too fast, brushing past people like he was looking for someone specific. A staff member tried to stop him and ask for credentials, but Orlando pushed his hand away. That's when security got involved, trying to escort him out. Orlando kept insisting he needed to talk to Busta, that he had answers, and that this had to end right now. His behavior was off, like he was angry at something only he understood. Security tried to remove him twice, and twice he pushed back. It wasn't until someone quietly notified Busta's team that Orlando Brown is here and causing a scene that everything shifted. Busta initially brushed it off, thinking someone was joking. But once he heard the commotion growing louder, he stepped out of his dressing room with that slow, heavy walk he only uses when something is about to escalate. The hallway went silent immediately when they made eye contact. Orlando froze for a split second. Then he stepped closer and started talking rapidly, too fast for anyone to decode. Busta tried to keep calm at first. He told Orlando the backstage area wasn't the place for whatever he wanted to discuss. Orlando ignored him. He raised his voice. He grabbed Busta's forearm. That's when witnesses say Busta's face changed. His patience evaporated instantly. He told Orlando not to touch him again. Orlando didn't back down. Instead, he poked Busta in the chest and said something so disrespectful that 3 people later claimed they weren't repeating that out loud. At that moment, Busta didn't move. He stood absolutely still. Then, in one explosive second, everything broke loose. Busta lunged toward Orlando with a level of force nobody expected. Crew members jumped forward trying to separate them. Someone shouted for security. Someone else dropped a drink. Orlando swung back but stumbled immediately, hitting a nearby equipment case. People said the sound echoed like someone slammed a locker shut. And that's exactly when the phone camera started recording. The footage begins with Busta grabbing Orlando by the front of his jacket, lifting him halfway off the ground. Orlando looked shocked, still trying to talk even while being restrained. Busta's voice was loud but not understandable through the chaos. Too many people shouting, too much movement, too many bodies trying to contain the explosion. Orlando threw one desperate swing that didn't land cleanly, and that's when Busta completely lost his composure. He shoved Orlando so hard that both of them crashed into a stack of folded stage panels. Security finally broke through the crowd, grabbing Busta around the waist and pulling Orlando backward by his shoulders. But Busta kept reaching for him, yelling, trying to get loose. Orlando kept shouting something back, his voice cracking. The room was pure confusion. The video ends with Busta being dragged toward one hallway and Orlando being pushed down another. No context, no aftermath. Just a violent, chaotic moment suspended in time. What the world didn't know, until 50 Cent leaked it, was how quickly the truth spread behind the scenes. People were calling their managers, PR teams were panicking. Busta's inner circle was trying to get the footage removed. Orlando's people were nowhere to be found. And 50 Cent was sitting there with the full clip in his phone, deciding exactly how he wanted to play this moment. And he chose violence. The chaos didn't end with the initial shock of the video. Fans and onlookers alike were glued to every moment, replaying the footage over and over, trying to process exactly what had happened between Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown. Social media exploded almost instantly after 50 Cent shared the clip. Twitter threads were erupting with clips, reaction videos, and heated debates. Some defended Busta, citing his history of explosive behavior and claiming Orlando somehow provoked him. Others outright condemned him, labeling the incident as unprovoked and violent. No matter which side people took, everyone agreed on one thing. The footage was shocking, relentless, and raw. Meanwhile, Orlando Brown's social media accounts went dark, which only fueled the speculation. Fans noticed his absence, and the silence was deafening. Many began digging through his past online activity, searching for any sign of what could have led to this confrontation. Conspiracy theories began popping up almost immediately. Was this about an old feud? Was there a misunderstanding that escalated? Or was this the result of Orlando's well-documented struggles with mental health, colliding with Busta's fiery temperament? Each theory had its own set of supporters, and each one added to the frenzy surrounding the video. The internet was no longer just a platform for sharing opinions, it became a courtroom of public judgment. Meanwhile, Busta Rhymes' team released a statement, attempting to downplay the incident while still defending their client. They acknowledged the altercation, but suggested that Orlando had acted aggressively first. They emphasized that Busta had tried to de-escalate the situation, but that Orlando's actions left him no choice. The statement was carefully worded, walking a tightrope between legal liability and public relations. However, critics were quick to point out that the video seemed one-sided and made it hard to see the full context. The statement did little to calm the storm. If anything, it added fuel to the fire. Media outlets quickly picked up the story, with headlines ranging from neutral to sensationalized, and everyone had an opinion about what should happen next. As the footage circulated, memes and parodies began flooding the internet. While some were darkly humorous, others were cruel, mocking Orlando in ways that many considered uncalled for. The viral nature of the video meant that it reached audiences who might never have been familiar with either Busta or Orlando. Suddenly, the incident transcended celebrity gossip and became a cultural moment, discussed in newsrooms, talk shows, and even late-night comedy sketches. The reach was astonishing, with clips being reposted on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Each repost came with a new angle or commentary, adding layers to the public perception of the incident. It was as if the internet itself had become a lens, amplifying every reaction and every detail, leaving no space for nuance. Legal experts began weighing in as well, analyzing potential charges and consequences. Many speculated that this could lead to assault charges for Busta Rhymes, depending on how authorities interpreted the footage and any other evidence that might surface. Some argued that Orlando Brown's prior history of public incidents and confrontations could be considered in his favor, potentially mitigating Busta's actions in the eyes of the law. Others argued that the raw physicality displayed in the clip could make it a clear case of assault, regardless of provocation. Discussions on forums and news comment sections often veered into debates about celebrity accountability, public safety, and the responsibility of social media in spreading violent content. No one could ignore the fact that the digital age had made this incident impossible to contain, and the fallout was already beginning. Amidst the chaos, both fans and critics began examining the broader implications. What did this mean for Orlando Brown's career? Could he recover from such a public confrontation? Similarly, what would be the impact on Busta Rhymes' image and career trajectory? Would this incident overshadow his musical legacy, or would he somehow emerge stronger, as so many artists have in the past after moments of controversy? The questions were endless, and answers were elusive. Every comment, every post, every clip contributed to a growing narrative that neither party fully controlled. What had started as a single act, captured on camera, had now spiraled into a cultural phenomenon with repercussions far beyond what anyone could have anticipated. The day after the video dropped, 50 Cent's post itself became a story. Fans dissected every aspect of his involvement. Why had he chosen to share it? Was this a personal vendetta? A strategic move to generate clout? Or simply a case of someone capturing a moment the world needed to see? 50 Cent has always been known for stirring controversy, and his decision to leak the footage fit perfectly within his public persona. Some praised him for showing the truth, while others accused him of exploiting a dangerous situation for likes and views. Regardless of opinion, the post cemented the event's place in the digital consciousness, and the public was already hungry for updates, reactions, and follow-ups. Even as the world reacted online, offline repercussions were unfolding. Authorities began asking questions about the incident, though no official charges had been announced at that time. Sources close to both Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown reported private discussions and meetings behind closed doors, trying to mitigate potential legal and reputational damage. Insiders hinted that both sides were weighing their options, possibly considering settlements or public statements to calm the storm. These behind-the-scenes maneuvers added another layer of intrigue. While the public only saw the footage and reactions, the real story of negotiation, strategy, and reputation management was unfolding quietly, and only time would reveal its full impact. Through it all, fans continued to speculate about every detail: the angle of the camera, the expressions on their faces, the sequence of events. Everything was analysed endlessly. Internet sleuths paused and replayed the video frame by frame, creating theories, timelines, and even maps of where the confrontation supposedly took place. Forums lit up with debates over who was to blame, what might have happened off camera, and whether there were any missing pieces to the story. The debate was relentless, with new information or even misinterpretation of existing footage keeping the conversation alive. In this digital age, no incident, no matter how fleeting, can exist in isolation. Once it's online, it becomes part of a collective obsession, dissected endlessly by millions. As the second day after the leak approached, the tension only grew. Interviews with other celebrities and insiders began surfacing, adding even more perspectives. Some described the event as shocking but inevitable given the personalities involved. Others criticized the behavior of both men, calling for accountability and responsible use of influence. The mix of opinion, speculation, and outrage ensured that the story wouldn't die down quickly. What started as a simple act caught on camera had now evolved into a multi-layered saga, intertwining legal, social, and cultural threads. The world watched, debated, and waited, fully aware that the next chapter in this drama could erupt at any moment. As the dust settled from the initial chaos, the aftermath of the confrontation between Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown continued to ripple across social media, news outlets, and celebrity circles. The incident had become more than just a viral clip. It had turned into a defining cultural moment. Everyone wanted answers, and yet every new piece of information only seemed to complicate the narrative. Public opinion was divided, with some viewing Busta's actions as a necessary response to provocation and others condemning it as excessive and unprovoked. The debate wasn't just about the incident itself, it was about what it represented in the larger conversation about celebrity accountability, mental health, and the influence of social media in amplifying conflict. Orlando Brown, after a brief period of silence, finally released a statement through his representatives. He expressed shock and disappointment over the incident, emphasizing that he had no intention of provoking violence. He also touched on his ongoing struggles, hinting that the confrontation had been exacerbated by personal challenges he had been facing. While the statement was measured and aimed at restoring some dignity, it also opened him up to scrutiny. Critics argued that he was trying to gain sympathy, while supporters praised him for speaking out calmly despite the chaos surrounding him. The statement added a new layer to the narrative, humanizing Orlando in a way that the raw footage could never capture. Busta Rhymes, on the other hand, maintained a more aggressive stance. He remained largely silent publicly, but allowed his team to issue controlled responses, emphasizing that the confrontation was a result of unavoidable circumstances. Some sources claimed that Busta felt his legacy was being questioned and that he needed to assert himself to protect his reputation. Insiders hinted that there had been prior tension between the two, stemming from past misunderstandings and professional disagreements. This context, though limited, gave the public more reason to dissect the events, sparking even more debate over what really happened behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the role of 50 Cent in leaking the footage continued to be a major talking point. Social media users speculated endlessly about his motivations. Was it purely for clout? Was it part of a larger strategy to maintain his relevance in the public eye? Or was it simply an act of entertainment designed to shock and provoke? Whatever the reason, 50 Cent's involvement added a new dimension to the story. Fans and critics alike scrutinized his every post and comment, debating whether his actions were ethical or exploitative. Regardless, his decision to share the footage ensured that the incident would not be forgotten quickly, cementing its place in the ongoing conversation about celebrity culture and viral moments. As the week progressed, media coverage intensified. Late-night shows, talk radio, and online news outlets picked apart every detail, often sensationalizing aspects of the event for maximum impact. Analysts debated the legality of Busta Rhymes' actions, the potential consequences for Orlando Brown, and the ethics of sharing violent footage online. Some journalists questioned whether such viral incidents should be treated as entertainment at all, raising broader concerns about the responsibilities of influencers and media platforms in shaping public discourse. The story had grown beyond the individuals involved, touching on systemic issues about fame, accountability, and the digital age's appetite for controversy. The public reaction remained intense and multifaceted. Memes, reaction videos, and commentary continued to dominate social platforms. Some of the more creative or humorous takes went viral themselves, creating a meta level of engagement where the story about the confrontation became a cultural phenomenon that inspired yet more content. At the same time, serious conversations about mental health, personal responsibility, and celebrity pressures emerged. Fans and critics debated how fame can exacerbate personal struggles and how society reacts to publicized incidents of violence among celebrities. This dual nature, humor and critique, entertainment and ethical reflection, kept the incident alive in public discourse longer than most viral events. Legal ramifications were still looming in the background. Lawyers weighed in on potential assault charges, civil lawsuits, and defamation concerns. Experts debated whether the viral nature of the footage could influence legal proceedings or public opinion in a way that might affect the outcome. Some speculated that both Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown might reach a private settlement to avoid drawn-out litigation, while others suggested that a public legal battle could ensue, attracting even more attention. The uncertainty surrounding legal consequences added suspense, keeping fans and the media eager for updates. The conversation also turned to the impact on the careers of both men. Orlando Brown, already navigating a complicated personal and professional life, faced questions about his reliability and public image. Busta Rhymes, despite decades of success and influence, had to consider how this incident would affect his legacy. Public opinion plays a significant role in entertainment, and moments like this can either define or damage careers depending on how they are handled. The intense scrutiny, both supportive and critical, highlighted the high stakes involved when celebrities' personal actions become public spectacle. By the end of the week, the story had grown to encompass not only the violent incident itself, but the broader cultural, social, and legal consequences. Fans continued to replay the footage, dissect every frame, and debate endlessly online. Meanwhile, both Orlando Brown and Busta Rhymes navigated the aftermath in their own ways, balancing public perception, personal reputation, and legal considerations. 50 Cent, having released the footage, continued to enjoy the attention it generated, demonstrating the power of viral content in shaping modern celebrity narratives. The incident had become a defining moment in the public consciousness, a story that would continue to be referenced and debated for months to come. It was not merely a confrontation caught on camera, it had become a cultural phenomenon, reflecting the complexities and pressures of fame, the intensity of social media scrutiny, and the way the public consumes and reacts to celebrity drama. Even as new stories and scandals emerged in the entertainment world, the impact of this incident persisted. Its lessons about accountability, reputation management, and the dangers of unchecked aggression among high-profile figures were discussed in media circles and social forums alike. Fans waited with bated breath for the next development, whether it would be legal updates, personal statements, or further revelations from those involved. The story had entered a cycle of ongoing interest and speculation, demonstrating the viral power of shocking footage and the way it can dominate conversations in the digital age. What began as a chaotic clash between two individuals had become a lasting moment in celebrity history, remembered not only for the violence, but for the intense cultural ripples it created across society. If you're watching this and thinking this is just another celebrity drama, think again. Moments like these remind us how fast the world of entertainment can spiral out of control, and how a single clip can dominate conversations, reshape reputations, and spark debates that reach millions. But we don't just watch, we participate. Every like, every comment, every share adds fuel to the fire and keeps the story alive. That's why it's so important to engage thoughtfully. Did Busta Rhymes go too far? Was Orlando Brown partly responsible? Or is this all just a reflection of the high-pressure world these stars live in? We want to hear what you think. Your voice matters because it's fans like you who help shape the conversation and push these stories into the spotlight. So drop your thoughts below and let us know exactly what side of this chaotic moment you're on. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We bring you the latest raw and unfiltered celebrity stories, the kind that dominate headlines and keep everyone talking. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a viral moment like this one, because trust us, in the world of entertainment, there's always more drama lurking just around the corner. Every time a new scandal breaks, every time a shocking clip surfaces, you'll be the first to see it here. Don't just scroll past, be part of the conversation, and stay ahead of the curve on everything happening in the celebrity world. And if you've been following along from the start, you already know how unpredictable this story has been. From viral chaos to behind-the-scenes tension, from legal questions to public reactions, the saga of Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown is far from over. Engaging with content like this isn't just about entertainment, it's about staying informed, joining discussions, and seeing how these larger-than-life personalities navigate public scrutiny. Share your opinions, debate respectfully, and watch closely, because the next twist could drop at any moment. By participating, you're not just a viewer, you're part of a global conversation that spans social media, news outlets, and millions of fans worldwide. Finally, remember that celebrity stories often carry deeper lessons. Behind the viral videos and dramatic moments, there's always context, human struggle, and consequences that go far beyond what we see on screen. Engaging responsibly means not just reacting, but thinking critically about what these moments represent. So, like the video, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and share it with friends who want to stay in the loop on the biggest, craziest, and most chaotic celebrity stories. We promise to keep bringing you the raw, uncut truth, the moments that no one else dares to show, and the conversations that keep the world talking. Be part of this journey, because the story isn't over, and the next big reveal could be just around the corner. Don't miss it, because you'll want to see every shocking second, every explosive reaction, and every behind-the-scenes twist as it unfolds.